Auto-destruct sequence has been initiated.
Computer music. No, no, not that. Something Latin.
Specify.
A mambo. That's more like it.
That's right. That's right. Going. Okay. And hide that. This is always the awkward part, but I'm here, guys. We're here. We're all here to talk about Star Trek Insurrection, a movie from 1998. And welcome, everybody, to Live Long and Podcast. I'm Dave Mader, coming at you with Star Trek TV and movie reviews, streaming here live on Facebook with our fabulous panel. You may also be watching us on YouTube or listening to us on audio. And welcome to all of you. It's Saturday. It's time to talk Star Trek movies. First and foremost, my wife, Jane. Hey, Jane.
Hey.
Just below us here on your screen, you have my brother, Jeff. How you doing,
Hey,
Jeff?
I'm doing good.
In the top right-hand corner of your screen, you got Kevin and Ashley Millard. How are you guys doing?
Good.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, we got the ever-salty Jody Simpson.
Hi.
Here to get salty about this movie today. Okay.
Salty.
This is the 9th movie in Star Trek movie history.
Good title there, bud.
Oops. This is why pencils have erasers.
And you and Jane are the only ones with names.
No, I have names.
Oh, we see your name.
Oh, okay, you don't see it.
I don't see it either, Kevin.
I see my name and your name. And
I'm on
Jeff's
Team Kevin on this one. There's no names.
Yeah.
I promise me you have names. You can have names if you want. Hey, we're here to talk about Star Trek Insurrection, as mentioned, the 9th movie in this franchise from 1998, and the 3rd Next Generation crew movie. And we've been kind of talking. We know we were going to get to this point because we were all kind of jazzed for First Contact, but we kind of knew it's kind of a decline here for at least 2 movies, at least until maybe the Chris Pine one comes along, which is kind of a new take, at least, and a new cast. So hey, Jane, I know I kind of know the answer already, but Jane, how do you feel about Star Trek Insurrection?
Well, I wasn't looking forward to it, but rewatching it, it was better than I expected. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying I enjoyed it. It kept my attention. There were some laughs. It's not the best movie in the world, but I had a good time.
Okay, there you go. So, hey, not the worst time in the world. You might enjoy this movie. You know, that's
Staggering review.
Let's go to Jeff next. Jeff, how do you feel about Star Trek Insurrection? I watched it again this morning. We've been watching it kind of off and on for the last few weeks, but you kind of went through it again last night, I know. So,
yes.
How do you feel about Star Trek
Insurrection? Okay, it's like a long TNG episode that they wrote years ago, and they were like, this would make a good movie, and they put it to bed, and then they brought the script back out, and then like it's just boring. Like I was watching it yesterday, and there's just so many moments in the movie where like Picard longingly looks at something for like 5 seconds. Like they're like they stretch this movie out so hardcore that it's just the beats of the movie are so boring. There's only a few parts that you could tell were well choreographed, well thought out before they did them. One of them is a lot of people hate it, but the Data and Picard singing scene, I think, is the only well choreographed scene in the whole movie as far as the beats and the fact that it moves. But that scene could have worked in almost any movie. They could have did that plot where Data got turned. The problem with the movie for me is the Rawafu and the other alien people that they're trying to save. I don't know what's their names.
the protectorate that Picard and all them are trying to help out.
Okay, terrible. It's boring.
Millards, let's get your take.
For me, this is one of those movies that I can recognize is a really bad movie, but I'm totally entertained by this movie every time I watch it. I love it. I don't know why. The story is awful. I don't like the Baku or the Sona or anything. But this movie, I put it on, and I'm laughing through the whole thing,
Right.
except for that scene you just mentioned, Jeff. That is painful. That's singing, like. Seriously, they beat
British tar is a soaring soul, as free as a mountain bird.
That's just because you don't like singing, though, right, Kevin? Is that the reason that you don't like that scene?
No, it's as bad as the row, row, row your boat scene in Star Trek 5.
It's not
That is the next generation's row, row, row your boat scene.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to be over. It's painful.
I think it's a fun, well choreographed scene. Compared to the rest of the movie, it's the only part of the movie that stands out. Maybe because it is bad. Maybe you're right. But I enjoy it. Like you just said, Kevin, with Insurrection. You know it's bad, but you enjoy it. When Picard is dancing the mambo, you're feeling two emotions. You're confused.
Yeah, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah. That's number one. You're confused. You're like, why is this in the movie? And then number two, you're feeling like, well, it's kind of enjoyable, you know.
Right. It was a bit of a mystery when he was doing the mambo. You're like, what's going on with Picard?
He was doing a mambo.
Yeah,
it's all over in 18 seconds until he figures out it's kind of thing. Ashley, did you want to say? Because we're gonna go to Jody next, just before.
Yeah, I feel the same way as Kevin. I don't hate it. I know it's not a super great movie. It does drag in scenes, and it does feel like a stretched out episode.
Like
but I always laugh my way through it. I like it.
Yeah, every time they go to the story, it drags.
I feel like it's so ridiculous that it just makes me giggle, and I like it.
So it has entertainment value, but the plot is garbage.
And I prefer episodes to movies anyway, so of course I like it. I prefer to watch a TNG episode over a movie any day. So
now, Jody, your thoughts. Now, I think the case you've been making for the last few weeks is that Insurrection is not as bad, maybe as we think it is, or at least it's better.
I never said that.
You think that Nemesis is?
I was talking about Nemesis.
Oh, you think
I was talking about this movie?
You think Nemesis is underrated?
Nemesis is definitely underrated compared to this movie.
Is this movie overrated, or how do you feel about it?
I don't even know who's rating it. It's so terrible. It's the Insurrection is, I think, I can't remember who said it, but whoever said that this was an episode that was stretched out, I think it was Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Nail on the head completely. But what you forgot to say was it was one of the shittier TNG episodes stretched out. It's just like, I understand why people can enjoy it, but for me, it didn't do anything for me. I was just as disappointed watching this again as I watched it when I paid money to see it in the theater. So I don't know. There's the only scenes that I actually like in this entire movie, and don't stop me until I'm at the end here, is anytime Riker's on screen when Deanna Troi isn't, which is about three bridge scenes. That's about it.
You like that?
Yeah, Riker actually is kind of a badass in this movie. Other than the awkward Troy romance scenes, which definitely didn't need to be in there. They
had to show you that Deanna was shaving his face in the tub. They had to show you this.
No, they didn't. Like I guess they were trying to explain why Riker.
Smooth as an android's bottom, eh, Data? I beg your pardon, sir?
And on top of that, this is the only Star Trek movie that I know of that actually says the term boobs twice in the movie.
Right.
Like, this is just silly.
Noticed how your boobs have started to firm up.
Yeah.
We care about such things in this day and age.
We don't care about such things.
Which I'm sure is important. Okay, but I'm not a woman, so I can't relate. Well, I do have boobs, but mine don't have that problem yet.
Have you noticed how your boobs have started to firm up?
Yes, I have actually. But I just it's slow, very, very slow pacing. It's up there with Search for Spock for me as being just boring and terrible.
Right. My major problem with this movie is it's the villain. I think he's not a great villain.
No.
Ruafu. His two most memorable moments are him not speaking per se, but no is a word, but he goes no, and later on he goes
Yep.
That's good acting.
That pretty much sums up my entire viewing experience of this movie. My entire viewing experience of this movie was no. It was just.
That's exactly what I said to Dave. He played it. That's exactly the exact same thing I said to Dave. I was like, that
going on the permanent soundboard. Listen.
I like.
All right.
My favorite when the blood shot from his forehead.
Two's enough, Dave.
The blood shows, and then later on when he goes, yeah, once he figures out he's been duped. That's when
Like even the end of this movie, like the climax of this movie is Picard and whatever the bad guy's name is, and they're climbing through this like array of beams, and like that's the actual like.
And they're shooting at each other very badly.
Oh yeah, it's like they got stormtrooper accuracy. It's like I'll shoot over here where he isn't.
Picard misses. Right, and we saw Picard was more of like an action star in the last movie, like with that whole sequence when he was on board.
Like you follow a movie like First Contact, which has a lot of action. It's constantly moving, and you literally go like complete opposite. It's almost a mirror of that movie. It's so fucking boring.
Yeah, that First Contact had so much of a horror aspect to it, and this does not. This is much more light and cheerful.
It's an action comedy. That's what this movie is.
And
I wouldn't even say action
because like the whole movie.
It's more of a romantic comedy.
And I thought they were catering to kids a bit more with having that little animal the boys carrying, like the little mouse thing. So and the humor, I thought they were going after kids. Maybe First Contact they thought was too violent. And
it's possible that it got some backlash from First Contact, and they went with something a little lighter, family friendly.
Yeah,
if you will.
Maybe.
That little animal was like almost like a Star Wars kind of thing. Ooh, look at the cute little animal.
That kid was fucking terrible too.
I have big issues with this kid, and I
it's in the movie too much.
When I was about 15, I'd say that kid. He says he's 12, but I think he's a little older than 12. So I feel like he's a contemporary of mine, and I have issue with this kid. He is a dweeb. That haircut is bad, and he's got some of the worst dialogue. I think he tries. But I'm against whatever the hell.
Dave, do you have a photo of yourself at 12?
1998.
I can probably find one. Yeah.
Because I think I have one on my phone.
Yeah, of me at 12 or of you at 12?
Yeah, it's from Christmas. I took pictures of your
cool?
various pictures.
Cool
no,
kid?
no, actually, the kid reminds me a lot of Dave Mader. Actually,
you saying that I am no cooler than this kid?
I bet you that kid can't make pizzas either.
What's that?
I said, I bet you that kid can't make it pizzas either.
It takes a really long time.
Look, this kid can play hacky sack and he can live forever. He's the perfect hippie. I mean,
he's your perfect friend.
He's got all the time in the world to make the perfect pizza.
Yeah. He can figure it out.
Riker makes pizzas. We all know that. That's why they do. Well, he never gets to go down to the planet at all, Riker. But he's
that's why Riker was more enjoyable in this movie.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's some great. Okay, can we talk about the Troy Riker romance? Because I think maybe that's part of the movie for me.
Don't go criticizing my counseling techniques.
It's not even a right movie.
I know, but it's a great line.
What? Why are we using a movie? No,
we're talking about Insurrection. Can you restrict your soundboard a little? You're going a little nutty here.
I'm just saying, if you're criticizing Deanna Troy, don't go canceling her. Are you
Jane, distract him with your Troy-like maneuvers.
Hey, go get him in the tub and give him a shave.
Yeah, give him a shave with the tub, as smooth as an android's bottom.
Smooth as an android's bottom, eh, Data? I beg your pardon, sir? What I need, I can't get from Dr. Crusher.
I would like to talk about Data in this movie because I feel like he's not even really Data in this movie. And
he didn't take his emotion ship with him, but he's still very emotional.
He was.
He's super emotional in this movie. He's constantly worried that the friggin' kid doesn't like him. Like there's a bunch of things in the movie where like his facial reactions are not usual for how Brent Spiner normally plays Data.
Do you think when the Enterprise got there, they gave him his emotion chip? Is that possible? Like when they fixed him,
I don't know. They don't show that on screen, but
definitely seemed like he had emotions.
The movie starts off with him going rogue. He's basically exposed. He's shooting things and he's stealing ships and he's not.
Which I will admit is a good way to start the movie.
Did you like
so
this
at that
opening?
Point, I was okay with this. This was fun.
Yeah, that most of this movie is set in really. And it's like I love the music. I like this little bit of music. It's like do do do. It's nice. But and then all of a sudden da da, and like Data's shooting things, and we realize that this is like an observation post. And we saw this a bunch on the TNG TV show where they would observe pre-warp civilizations, is what they think the Baku are at this point. And so, but I was like, what the hell is Data doing? Why is he there? And why is he shooting at Starfleet people?
Why are the people? They're aliens, right? They're called the what are they called? The Daku. Why do they look just like humans? Like, why did they not spend the time to just give them some sort of alien look to the characters? I think that would have really improved just the way the audience feels about this alien culture. That's my opinion. I think it would have been like make them Bajorans or make them. I don't know.
I don't have an answer for that. I can only think more
makeup. Now there's a good way to make this movie even shittier. Make them Bajorans. That's a great idea. Fuck. I hate Bajorans too. If this
movie was Bajorans and Cardassians,
I wouldn't watch it at all.
That would have been interesting.
Why make them? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I think just so that the romance with Picard and the woman is more.
They could have put a little something on her face, on her ears, on her somewhere.
Just
not
maybe so
100% human.
If they put that onto her, then they have to put that onto the Sona, and that takes away the reveal.
That's true.
But most of the alien races that they encounter in Star Trek look like humans.
Yeah.
A lot of them do. It's just the way it is.
In the TV
show, there's a lot that look like humans.
I know. I don't like it. Please.
A ton in the original series, especially
because all the planets were seeded from the same species, right?
Yeah. It's all. It's fine. I it takes you out of it because it's hard to separate them as aliens, but they are aliens, yes, who live and look and act very much like humans. All white humans, though. They know people who are.
Yeah.
white.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, that's it. And then Data's going crazy. And then Picard and the rest of them are on the ship. He's doing diplomatic talks. He's like, they're talking about how the Federation needs more friends, needs more allies, because they're and this is the point of Star Trek, where this is probably Deep Space Nine in its 6th season or so. So the Dominion War is in full effect by this point. And they were just coming off the Borg attack from a couple years earlier. So we're like in the universe, in like Star Trek world of this time, we're like, the Federation's sort of on its heels. Now, I was a little disappointed that they didn't give us a lot of that in this movie. Like, they kind of do, but we don't. They talk about, the diplomatic corps is busy with Dominion negotiations, so they're acknowledging that the war is going on, but that the Enterprise is kind of in charge of cleaning up all the other stuff that doesn't involve the war. It's my kind of impression.
Well, this also kind of gives you the impression that the Federation is really just a bunch of dicks. And, this is kind of the turning point, which realistically, when you think about it, the Picard show this is a good way to start it. This type of thing, when you start seeing this kind of shit happening, right?
Yeah,
Force relocation, which seems to happen a lot with Star Trek.
Yeah, like it's like we've seen like a series of evil admirals. This movie has maybe one of the most prolific ones in Admiral Dowdery. Although he's kind of like a conflicted character.
That's his name? Okay.
Admiral Dowdery.
But really, is he evil?
Not really. He's kind of morally.
He's following orders.
But he's behind it. He wants that fountain of youth.
He wants it, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But he's not the one. He even says in the movie that he wasn't the one that ordered it.
Yeah, he's just facilitating it.
He's facilitating it. He's in charge of that operation.
You think Section 31 will want in on this and not the regular Starfleet?
When Worf shows up here, though, it's like, Worf, what are you doing here? And he's like, he starts giving an answer, and then we're like, oh, we don't care. He just needs to be in this movie.
I love that. Interrupt him, and you're like, it doesn't matter. It's fine. You're here.
It acknowledges that he shouldn't be here, but we're not going to explain why.
Doesn't bother
Even the cast is like, do we have to do this movie?
Well, I think they, because they're like, well, I have to explain why I'm not on Deep Space Nine, right? And they go, yeah, I guess we'll throw a line in the movie.
He's also married. Yeah. They don't even mention Jadzia.
True. Yeah, he was married at this point. Before Jadzia died. Yeah, so that would be about right, I think. Yeah, if I remember accurately. And then they hear about Data's kind of like Jody gets the call. They want Data's like blueprints and schematics, and I don't know why. And they start talking, and so they find out that Data's kind of gone rogue. There's problems, and so Picard immediately wants to go check it out. And he's
You
like,
missed the fact that Picard put something silly on his head.
I missed that bead hat he wore that from that,
The bead, yeah.
that chrysanthemum, that flower eating alien.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
the little one.
Now, were they fish? They look like fish. Is that why he said
They
no
look
fish?
like hippo people to me. Did they look
Yeah,
like
they-
hippo people?
Yeah, kind of.
He took fish off the menu. Is it because they look like fish to him? I couldn't quite. I'm like, okay.
The other thing that bothers me about this movie is the helmsman.
The
I have a
trill?
real problem with helmsman lately. Yeah, that trill was
Why
fucking
the trill
annoying.
helmsman?
She literally points out everything that everybody already fucking knows. Like she literally, she's like, but they're attacking. It's like, we just got fucking hit, you idiot. Of course they're attacking. Like fucking. Ugh.
Yeah, she's
God, I hate this movie.
Yeah, I think she's only in this movie. I don't think she's.
Yeah, I
in
don't
it.
No,
recognize
they
her.
didn't bring her back for the next one.
Yeah,
Because I watched them both back to back.
At least they put.
yesterday.
At least they made one other character an alien. I guess that was nice.
Yeah, well, just.
Well, they
You
had
know-
a blue guy.
Data's not really on the bridge pretty much at all in this movie.
No.
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 And I don't think he ever is. Is he ever on the bridge? I don't think he is. He might be one. Anyway,
I'd like to know
He's never-
where this captain's yacht came from.
Well, it's always been part
Okay.
of. Okay,
Both
Captain.
both enterprises, D and E, both have a captain's yacht.
So does
We never
Enterprise-
actually saw it on the D, but it is there. It's actually mounted underneath. It's on the
so does
bottom.
Voyager. Voyager has one too.
Yeah,
But they never used
yeah, they never used it either. But in the E, they don't actually store it on the bottom. It's actually in the shuttle bay. I don't get that. But
Oh, no,
anyway,
it's on the bottom of the song.
no, it comes at it. No, it came out of the shuttle bay.
it did come
No,
out.
Oh no, hold on. I'm thinking of the wrong one. Never mind.
I think you have the wrong part.
I watched
no.
both of them at the same time. So I watched
We
this
did see
and then I
the
watched
yacht
Nemesis.
down. Like it'd be
And
neater if they-
Nemesis, they
or-
just took a shuttle. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Sorry. That's me
Picard went
mixing
on
them
a couple trips by himself, and he just took a shuttle. Like,
But he could have
Wes-
taken his yacht.
with Wesley. He went to the.
Yeah, I've never seen him use a captain's yacht or refer to a
Yeah,
captain's
like,
yacht.
why didn't he and Wesley, when he wanted to read that book and ignore Wesley in that episode?
Yeah.
Why didn't they take a captain's yacht? Why'd they take a shuttle?
Was that Times
Would have made it
Square?
way
Is that-
easier to
that's
get
I
away
think-
from Wesley.
I think the point is that it's the yacht is supposed to be like a diplomatic thing. It's not supposed to be used for like just normal travel or something. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah, well, it's the only time. This is the only movie where it's used at least.
Yeah.
Really.
It wasn't D though, because if you actually look at the blueprints for the D,
Oh, yeah,
it
it's
actually is there. Yeah.
And Voyager had one similar that they never used either. So yeah, it's kind of that would be something neat to see if they do another Star Trek.
Do you know
show
what?
in Enterprise.
You know what ship needs a captain's yacht? The Defiant.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
It already is a
right.
captain's yacht.
Oh, the Defiant's a glorified like runabout.
Give the Defiant a captain's yacht. It'd be hilarious.
I don't know what your hard on is about the Defiant. It's a fucking shuttle. Whatever.
It's a flat shuttle that can.
No, what happened is the producers of Deep Space Nine said, you know what? This is getting fucking boring. We need to start moving.
I
That's
think
what it is. That's
the-
why they introduced it.
the Defiant's very much like the Millennium Falcon. It's like a big pizza, and it's,
Well,
you
the
know,
Millennium Falcon is a tragedy of a spaceship.
It
It's
is.
awful. It's the worst spaceship
It's
in
a trailer
all
park.
science fiction.
it's a
It's a
trailer park
very-
in a spaceship.
It's a very ugly ship, for
It's
sure.
got
Yeah.
satellite dishes on it. It's a flat.
It's even uglier in the new ones because they have the fucking. They changed it a bit.
I can't do that Kessel run in 0.9.
That's
seconds.
Star Wars.
Okay, this is Star Trek Insurrection. Why the hell are we talking about this?
Well, we were talking about the Defiant.
We're talking about the
I
Defiant.
brought up the Millennium Falcon, and I hate it so much I had to
And
say
in
something.
terms of like sort of where we are in the story, in my mind at least, we're at the point where we met Ruafu. We talked about Ruafu. I'm not even going to get into him very much because he's so boring.
Rafu's the stretchy face guy, right?
Yeah.
This guy.
All right.
He used to be named Roti, and then he became Ruafu. I think is what this is.
I like rotis. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Rotis. I'm okay
Yum,
They're
with
yum,
Roti.
tasty.
Not this Roti. I'm glad he changed it to Ruafu. Didn't soil the Rotis anymore. And then so they attack. Like Data attacks them a bit because Data is still got his his brain damage or whatever. So Data. So there's like, we're gonna shoot him down from the sky. Your android's causing all kinds of problems when the Enterprise gets there. And Picard's like, I'll handle it. If anybody's going to take him down, it will be me. And so he takes Worf with him. and then they go on that little chase. Which so how does this chase sequence serve the group? Now Jeff likes it; it's his favorite part of the movie, if anything. I think it's fun. I think it's great character building, but I think it's also kind of corny. But
I'm in the row your boat camp, and I also had problems with them going after him and distracting him. And I'm like, he can have so much going on in brain and his brain. I know he was broken a little bit, but he still like didn't notice them coming around. Like I didn't believe
And his fist be ever ready for a knockdown blow.
Doesn't bother me because he's malfunctioning. So
he could still fly a ship. He could sing. He could he couldn't look and see someone come on behind him and underneath him.
He was distracted.
A British star is a soaring soul.
He's only got so much microprocessing power here, Jane.
That's right. That's exactly.
They haven't come up with a better system than the bouncing ball for the words.
No, it's the 24th century. It's still the
24th century. It's still the bouncing ball.
Still a bouncing ball.
Sing.
Yeah, and we're
Sing works. He does sing. Yeah, and then he's the one who disables Data with a little control.
And Dave sang, he did this when we were watching it.
So to sum up this entire scene, the easiest way to say it is it's just as shitty as the rest of the movie.
It's like the only memorable thing in the movie for me.
That's right. That's why I like it. That's why I think it's the best part of the movie.
I think about this scene.
Really? I think about the bird fluttering slowly when she stops time. That's what I always think back on.
No, anytime I think about this movie, it's the gorge.
Oh, it's
and the whole like everyone just staring at him, and the whole scene in the elevate, like the turbo lift, everything. It's hilarious.
Right. Then we I guess they get Data. They save him. I'm kind of going yada yada over this. Once they
did in the movie too. It's fine.
Yada yada. They come down to rescue the hostages that Data has put there, which is the Starfleet officers and the Sona. And then they figure out, this is where Picard meets the village people, like Anij, his love interest in this movie, and whoever that guy is, the dad of the kid, who's like the mayor of Baku Town. And
Baku Town.
Yeah. The mayor, that's his name, the mayor of Baku Town.
Come to Baku Town. We have hay.
He's kind of like a low rent David Hasselhoff.
He's discount David Hasselhoff. What's his name in the movie? Jody.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Exactly. What's the woman's name?
None of these.
I don't even know the woman's name.
Yeah, Kevin,
I don't know any of their names. No.
Exactly. That's why this movie's terrible.
That's how insignificant every character in this movie is. Wesley Crusher is in this fucking movie, isn't he not?
No.
Oh no, I screwed that up too. I gotta stop watching this shit.
That's why you think that Nemesis is better, because all the things that
Wesley Crusher was in it. Instantly better.
Like I did with Nemesis. Yeah, like this is where they figure out that they have technological abilities. They are not a pre-warp civilization. They just choose to live like this. And Picard's like, oh man, sorry. But all this.
I think that was exactly how he acted it too. Oh man!
Man, I didn't realize that you guys, knew warp. So now we can, right?
Right. And then it cuts to and then Picard's talking to the Admiral. And he's like, because they're from kind of warp technology, the prime directive damage is minimal, so all good. He's like, great work, Jean-Luc. Get the fuck out of Dodge and get out of here as soon as you can.
Do you think Michael Dorn at any point during the production of this movie went, I left the set of DS9 for this?
Yes.
I know.
At this point, he's on a very popular show at this point. It's doing well. Good with very good writing, compared to this, which isn't hard, quite honestly. But he at one point he must have just smacked himself in the head and said, "Why did I agree to this shit?"
Where he got the Porsche from.
The money, and then he looked at the Porsche that's parked outside, and he went, "Okay."
Probably and he's like, "Oh wait, now I remember."
Yeah. Yeah, he got the thing is, Deuce I never got to make a movie, even though they probably had better actors and better writing. What are
they gonna do? Do a movie where they're all sitting at the fucking space station all day?
It would be better than this movie.
It would have been. It would have been for sure.
I want to see a movie where they're sitting around the space station all day drinking at Quarks.
Would have been better than this movie. Literally.
Okay, we get the
Doctor Girls or
second,
whatever.
Riker and Troy thing, which is where Riker visits her. Riker is
Here it
having,
is with a fucking soundboard.
She says,
I think I'm having a midlife crisis. What I need, I can't get from Dr. Crusher. Why don't you try lying down?
Yes, and then
This
Riker-
isn't usual therapeutic postures.
But it is comfortable.
Do you really need counseling, or did you come down here to play?
oh, it's dirty between Troy and Riker.
It's
then-
so unnecessary to be in this fucking movie. Why did they even bother doing this?
My next favorite thing about this movie is
Oh,
all the Troy
God.
Riker stuff.
why?
Because I love these characters, and I'm so happy they're together now.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can be happy for it. But I don't need to watch it for half an hour. I don't need to see Riker lay down on the couch, roll up to Troy, rub his head on her stomach. I don't need to see that stuff. Like,
You see him in the tub, get a shave.
no, like it's all
I like that
unnecessary.
scene. I'm as close in Star Trek as you're going to get to someone talking on the phone while they're taking a shit.
First of all, them showing a tub at all is so weird for Star Trek because they never show a tub.
Yeah, they do.
That's not true. Evolution.
Troy.
Yeah.
Right?
We saw Neelix in
all-
the tub.
John Neelix in the tub.
Yeah.
We saw Deanna Troy. Deanna Troy was in a tub in
Troy
the
in a tub.
de-evolution scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, right. It's odd. It always stands out.
Very
It's always like,
naked.
where did they put the tub? Does it, because like
You know what, Jeff? I'm getting tired of your anti-tub agenda.
I love
Just the
tubs.
only one who likes baths in our family. I hate
No.
baths.
I love baths.
Baths are fantastic.
Bath power. We have bath power.
Where do you stand, audience, on baths?
Ugh,
I'm pro bath.
no
Bath.
thank you.
Yay.
No,
I'm
thank
pro
you.
bath.
Right. Anti-bath.
You gotta get a lot of soap. Yeah,
Maybe if your average tub was made for a human of human size, then maybe I'd like them. But
They're really only made for kids.
no grown adult fits fully in a tub.
They used to like 50, 60 years ago, but not in
Yeah.
modern tubs.
yeah. Well, you can get them.
People get bigger in tubs.
Yeah, you can get a bigger tub, but most of them are tiny.
That's how terrible this fucking movie is. We're talking about tubs.
Because it's very heavily. This is what they gave us, Jody. We have to talk about what is being given in the movie, and one of the big things that second thing Dave likes is Troy and Riker stuff, and it's tubs and like
Shaving.
And
rubbing
flirting.
the neck.
That
Actually,
right there.
I
That
want.
right there shows us exactly how shitty this movie is. When the second greatest thing to a Star Trek fan, Dave's a pretty big Star Trek fan, is I really like the scenes where they're in the tub. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like what they call him, like Commander Riker. He's like, "Can I get back to you, Mr. Worf?"
But we waited 7 years for this to happen.
it would have
Like,
been better if they did the, you know.
Longer.
11
other
years.
movies.
We've been waiting 11 years for them to get together, and they
Yeah.
finally did.
Wouldn't it be awesome though if like Worf messages him and then fucking Riker's like, "No, I'm tapping your old broad. It's cool."
Worf
You know?
said, "Go for it." What did Worf say? He said to Riker in the movie something.
He
Positive.
says at the end, like he kind of like endorses it.
Yeah, he endorsed. Oh, when he said he thought it would go back to normal, and
He's like,
Worf
"Do you
was
think
like,
that now that we leave like this environment, that the effects of this planet are going to go away?" He's like, "No, she's always loved you, even when I was like, with her for a while. She was always into you." Which is kind
She
of
couldn't handle Worf. That's why.
no, because she says yuck
That's
to
simple.
Riker. I never kissed you with a beard, which is technically true.
Yeah.
However, she did kiss Thomas Riker with a beard, and that was okay. And
Yeah, his clone, right?
it is
Still counts.
still Will Riker. It's
Anyway,
just-
again,
Yeah.
this movie is terrible. We're talking about other
and
things.
Worf, she kissed Worf with the beard, and she was okay with that. Anyway,
Great.
Yeah, but those are different people.
Second best part of the movie. Just so
I
you know.
didn't care about any
Yeah.
of that, Dave. Eddie.
That's
care
the
about
second
that?
best part of the movie.
But it's a rom-com. It's a
Kevin,
rom-com.
did you care about?
They should have just got Katherine Hagel in this movie.
You could see her in this movie in like that Anish part. Kevin, did you like the part where they were where Data comes down to the planet with the kid and he first meets the kid, but the kid's afraid of him, and he's trying to tell him about androids.
Not really.
Okay.
It's
Uh,
not. There's nothing really in that for me. I don't, like I said, the story is not good either. Like the whole hollow ship and
Data's like the creepy uncle. The kid's like, I don't want to play with you, and he's like, you're playing with me, boy.
A little bit.
Take the candy.
Right. He goes, well, Data, he's like, these people don't like technology, and you are a walking, talking piece of technology, and that's why the kids are kind of afraid of you and racist against you.
Yeah, I don't like that part either, because that's not why the kid is afraid of him. The kid is afraid of him because he was shooting at people. Yeah. It has nothing to do with anything they said.
Yeah, and then
well, he shows up as just a floating head.
Started shooting things.
Yeah, he's a floating head at first, and then he tries to explain to the kid that he got fixed, as if, like, if a murderer said to you, hey, they fixed me, you would still be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I went to jail for 8 minutes and I'm all fixed.
Yeah.
That's kind of, okay, Jody, did you enjoy the mystery part of this movie that had they were trying to figure out what happened to Data? Why did he do what he did at the beginning of the movie?
Not really.
Why?
Like the opening of the movie is good. It grabs you. You're like, okay, I'm interested now. What's going on? Fucking Data's going nuts. And then they don't really full out explain it. Like they tell you, yeah, it's there's some sort of error with him, and now they fixed him and he's fine. It's like this guy just ran around fucking shooting people. Shooting Starfleet people, but yet he's allowed to go back on the fucking planet after this malfunction. It's like it's convenience again. It's the Star Trek convenience
androids
comes back up.
Artificial life forms is that they are a bit of a liability, right?
They literally have like a spinning wheel, I think, when they're writing these movies, and they're like, okay, is Data gonna malfunction? Yep, okay.
Because remember that first
almost
time
every movie is him
over the Enterprise because of that thing that Dr. Soong turned on him, and he
Homing beacon.
Remember all that? Like Data, if he wants to, can completely he can lock out the main computer like he did in the last movie, right? Like he's a very powerful, and if he ever goes rogue,
a fucking liability. Like he's a big liability.
I understand why people don't want artificial life forms in some respects, because that if they become malevolent for whatever reason, then they're incredibly dangerous. Than regular flesh and blood people.
Yeah.
But I just think it was fairly glanced over for the most part. Like they did explain it, but it's not anything.
And then they find he goes into the lake, right? And he goes, oh, well, Data rust and whatever. And
pats a little fishy on the
like
head.
He pats that little fishy.
See, family movie. Pats a fishy on the head.
Oh.
I was waiting for him to start singing "Under the Sea."
Under the sea.
Right. I don't even. And then they find it. And,
now, if he did a lobster walk, that would have been amazing.
That would have been out of place in this movie. It would have made sense. So.
Right. So I know where the radiation's coming from, and then I guess there's a dam there because Data starts pulling on the thing, and he's able to move all the water out of the lake somehow. I didn't explain that either, but whatever.
What they didn't show you was all the other people that were getting flooded from him doing that.
Yeah.
Well, they started the movie off, and you saw in the gardens that they had like an aqueduct bringing water to the garden. So that's where it was a system on the lake.
There you go, everybody. It was...
Yeah.
I think lake water, though, the amount of lake water they had to drain to see that, though, I think is a little bit more than you need to be watering.
Water the garden. But
there was a reservoir somewhere.
Somewhere,
I would imagine, yeah.
And so that this is where you understand that there's more of a nefarious plot here.
Just a few loose ends to tie up.
Yeah, he's like Picard's not
smells a rat.
He smells a rat, and so and Data says it's obviously a Federation ship. I don't know how Data. I guess from the profile, but they don't really explain that either. And it has a cloaking device, which the Federation usually doesn't have either. But they do. So,
they're not actually supposed to have, because they have a treaty that says that they're not allowed to use it.
Technology, they're just not supposed to use it, but they know how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, the Defiant has one at this point?
Yes, it does.
But it's on loan from the Romulans.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, that.
Yeah. I'm not going to obsess over it, but it's just weird. And so they get in there and they realize what the plot is. Like, this is a big holodeck. And then, Picard starts explaining it to her. She knows what an android is. She knows what cybernetic brain is. She knows what warp drive is. And he's like, this is a holographic projection. He's like, I know what a friggin' hologram is, you dope. you know, and yeah,
I wish she actually said it that way because it would have made the movie way better.
It basically does. Say
She'd
that.
be like, well, she kind of does, but she doesn't really say it that sarcastic like he just said it.
No.
It would have
Well,
been amazing if
that's
she
how
said,
I
she'd be
read the
like,
scene.
what are you, fucking retarded? I'm like 800 years old. I know what a fucking hologram is. Like, if she said it that way, it would have been amazing.
They
I would have
could-
been like, this lady's amazing.
They could have made those characters so much more interesting because
Yeah.
they're 100 years old, or like that's like so many lifetimes. They could have made it interesting in some way, but it's just like they're
So
800.
let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask you this. We know that she has the ability to slow down time, or at least the perception of time. Okay. Why didn't they do that when the android was attacking?
How would it have helped?
It would have slowed it down. They could have started collecting people because they're all in a mad panic because all this shit's going, and they start running around the town, and they're all running around like everything's on fire. It's like, well, why don't you just slow it down, and then you can kind of like take your time, get all the kids, all that shit. Like the only time we ever see this is with a fucking hummingbird, or when they need to slow down time so she can live. It's like, I don't know. That's silly to me too.
I thought it was just the perception of time, not that you could slow time and then move around really quickly within time.
Like bullet time?
What?
Like
Well,
bullet time?
yeah, but if you can change the perception of time, then you can change the perception of everything when it comes to time, right?
This is a year before like the Matrix came out and the whole like bullet time and wire fu and all that. But, hey.
That was a
but
better
anyway,
movie than this movie.
It's a much better movie than this movie. Probably did much better at the box office. Yeah, so they get into a firefight with some Sona guys that are there who are on this ship, I guess, right? And they win the firefight, and then when he decloaks the ship and he deactivates the holodeck, though, those Sona guys they shot are gone. I guess they were holographic Sonas. And then, but what's her name? Anij. She falls into the water in this whole ordeal, and she doesn't know how to swim.
And we get
doesn't know how to swim.
And we get the running joke of the movie, which is, I just thought I'd get around to it eventually. Like it's like, I'm 900 years old. Isn't that quaint?
I hate this gag too.
In the event of a water landing, I have been designed to serve as a flotation device.
Right. I mean, it's cartoonish.
Yeah.
First of
I
all,
like it. 'Cause this movie's already stupid, and it just takes it to another level.
You know what? The thing that really bothers me about this movie, though, is the premise isn't that bad. Like, it's really not that bad. Like, the whole forced relocation thing we've seen before in Star Trek. But, like, we're going to put them all into a holodeck and then ship them off somewhere. That's kind of neat. It could have been better. Like, it easily could have been better.
I don't think that the story is kind of generic a little bit, but forced relocation is not a terrible theme to talk about in Star Trek or anything else. It's just like, I don't care about these people because...
Yeah, fuckers are already like 900 years old. Like, what does it matter?
I don't know. Like, they're all living like a Tuscan village in the mountains, and they got it pretty nice, I guess. And
they probably have pizza ovens.
I don't know.
I think that's it. They have it pretty good. So it's like, why should we feel any sympathy for these 800-year people that live in the friggin' paradise? And
and the stuff that their planet can be used to like heal people,
right?
Billions of people. Right.
Did they ever explain why we need to move these people? Like, can't you just like pick another part of the planet and drop people off there and let them
uninhabitable? And so the deal was that like Dowry, the Admiral guy and Ruafu, their deal was like, I'll help you, we'll facilitate this together, but I'm not killing anybody. We have to move these people. We're not. So that's the thing with Dowdy. He's morally bankrupt in a lot of ways. He's making a lot of compromises. He's doing this nefarious thing with the relocation, but he's not looking to hurt people specifically. He thinks he's doing the right thing. Whereas Rafu, I don't think really thinks he's doing the right. He's more self-serving.
I'm so confused with the names in this fucking movie.
Rafu, come on.
Like, Rafu's the stretchy guy, right?
Yeah.
All right, one of the stretchy guys. That guy, yeah, okay.
What's so long?
God, that is piercing.
If
you didn't lose every viewer now.
Jane on board was
Jane, take them
That
out
is
the way
going to
from
be
him.
a permanent fixture.
I know. Hold on.
Twice in a row is too much. Dare I go for 3?
Stop it! I'm taking the mouse away from him.
Take the mouse away from him.
All right. You're on a timeout.
You're on a timeout. Your wife has put you on a timeout.
Where are we in
Anyway.
this movie?
Who cares?
They definitely get more toward
With an
weird.
Android bottom, okay, and then we got come on, the mambo. We got to play the mambo.
Okay. Does everyone agree that we can listen to the mambo?
Sure.
All right, there you go.
Just not 3 times in a row.
No.
Computer music.
We listen to this on the countdown.
No, not that. Something Latin.
Specify.
Mambo. That's more like it.
Dave, you should just do a soundboard podcast.
Yeah, called Dave Soundboard. React to my clips.
Here, I'll ruin it for you, Dave. No one will watch it.
But you will have the best time.
He will rewatch it too. He'll do it and then he'll rewatch it later. And just laugh his ass off.
Yeah. He realized.
Can we go watch Search for Spock again?
Okay, well, all right. What is the main problems with this movie for me is kind of like the genre of the movie is like Dave was just mentioning the data gag where he turns into a raft. It's stuff like that. Like it's like the need to make Star Trek family friendly. Like it's not like stop trying to make Star Trek Star Wars. Like I get they're just looking at the dollar signs and they're like Star Wars is family friendly, so we need to go towards Star Wars. And it's just like Star Trek was always good because it would delve into subject matter that Star Wars couldn't even touch because it's a black and white story.
Accessible to adults and kids, right? And it's got some strong moral stories. And as you grow older, you can understand the story in a more complete way than you can.
Right, but I was a kid when this movie came out. I was I think 9 years old when this movie came out, okay? And I was like 7 years old when First Contact came out. And I remember when they both these movies came out, and I even as a kid liked First Contact way more because I was like I'd much rather watch the scary movie if it's well done than watch the family-friendly rom-com, you know.
This movie has more of a moral theme than First Contact.
Oh yeah.
This movie is about forced relocation. It's also about like, is it okay to move them because of the greater good? Because of it would help billions of people. So it does struggle with those moral sort of issues.
So the needs of the many.
I think that's the thing that
do
bugs
not
me.
outweigh the needs of the one.
Yeah. And that's what bugs me the most about this movie. This movie could have been really good. Like, especially following First Contact, where you're already at your stride right now, right? Like First Contact was great. Like it was just all around pretty good movie, as we've talked about previously. It's just such a decline all of a sudden. It's like, what were you thinking?
They're mixing two different movies. They're doing the forced relocation storyline, and then on the other half of the movie, they're doing Riker Troy, Data singing, Data turning into an inflatable raft. Like they have two different movies going on, and they blended them together. And
but that's what every episode from TNG is about: two different stories.
Yeah, the A and B story.
The A B story.
Right, but I don't like the A or B story.
I guess the problem with the B story in this one is it overpowers the A story.
Right. So you got this. Well, what's the love story?
Yeah, I see that.
Is that the
The
B
love
story?
story is the B story. Yeah.
Okay.
When you guys say it's a rom-com, I totally see that.
It is
a rom-com.
Yeah.
It is a rom-com.
And I think that they were trying to show, like, look, we did this action/horror movie with First Contact, and now we'll take it a completely different direction. A much more family-friendly, maybe dare I say, female-friendly movie in Insurrection, and it doesn't quite work, right? Because not that this cast can't do that kind of a movie, or that this crew or the story, but it's just the particular people that were sort of cast around them. I think that they're mostly forgettable, including the villain, who's played by F. Murray Abrams, or whatever his name is. He's an Oscar-winning actor. He's a great actor, and he's like he's doing.
Do not
he's not
play that
He's
again.
not doing this.
He just goes, woo!
Yeah, what he does. Yeah. Like it's not the quality of the actors involved; it's the writing. I when a movie is bad, I always come back to the writer. because the writer has like the ability to make the movie good or not. And if it feels rushed or it feels like a copycat movie, which this movie for me really feels like, it's like a Star Trek play by numbers. We'll use a little rom-com, we'll use a little adventure, we'll use a little action movie, and it'll all come together. It'll be great. But
this is Sub Rosa in movie form.
Yeah.
Remember that episode? Terrible.
I think this was Next Gen's attempt at a Star Trek 4.
Or Star Trek 3 in some ways too. Yeah.
Just being funny.
Funny and
Star
light.
Trek 4, I mean, I can rip apart Star Trek 4 too, starting with the fact that if you enclose a mammal in a tank of water, it will die.
Right.
This is sort of like that. It's not a good story, but it is funny. I enjoy it all the way through.
Yeah, like the characters, right? So
They
can all be.
But like Star Trek 4 is funny the entire time. Okay, it knows what it is. It's a comedy. Okay, there's a little bit of romantic. There's an interest going on, but nothing ever leads to anything.
They're trying to save the world. You feel the stakes of that.
Plus, they're trying to save the world, but mainly that movie's a comedy. This movie is trying to be serious one scene, and then the next scene making it funny, and then the next scene the make it romantic, and then it's all over the place. Like, just pick a theme and just run with that theme.
It's like they looked at First Contact and went, "Oh, there was a couple funny scenes in that movie, so we should do more of those. We'll keep it serious, but we'll do more of those." And it's like it didn't work.
Dialing up the three characters in particular. It's Data and it's Picard a lot, and it's a lot of Worf. It was like those were like the three most popular characters, and they're in this movie. They're in all these movies a lot. Whereas like Crusher, Troy, Jody, they don't have a ton to do in any of these movies. Even Riker.
Yeah.
Like I think largely they do that because Riker's behind the camera in this movie. It's so odd that he directed this movie and First Contact.
What did Jordy even do? Like, I saw him look at the sunrise.
Well, Jordy does what he does in every movie, which is he goes, "I can see." Temporarily.
Yeah, I can't remember anything doing anything else actually at this moment.
Yeah, like that's all he did.
He
I've never seen a sunset.
He ejects the core.
Oh, he ejected the core.
During at one point, he stands up on the bridge and says, "I'm going to go to engineering," and leaves the bridge. He does make a joke about.
Yeah, he goes, "I'll be engineering." Yeah.
The only thing he does in this movie is he says this.
I wouldn't be surprised if history remembers this as the Riker maneuver.
He goes this.
The Riker
That's the thing that
maneuver.
Riker does. in the
History
battle.
already
It's
knows a Riker maneuver.
Only if it works.
Riker. Was Riker hitting on somebody at that time? Is that why he said that?
That's the beauty of Riker, though. He's always hitting on somebody.
You get that like that joystick, for like video game joystick to fly the ship later on.
Yeah, we're going manual.
He's hitting on Jordy because Jordy is hitting on his ego. You know, he's like, "Oh, we call this the Riker maneuver in the future." He's like, "You only do that if it works, but it's gotta work because
I'm Riker."
But I still stand by this. The only really enjoyable scenes in this movie, in my opinion, are the ones with Riker on the bridge.
Because
I think Patrick Stewart, because after he goes down the planet, he finds out that they're 300 years old and whatever, and that they can slow down time. And he starts to form this relationship, and then he goes up and he confronts the admiral. He's like, "We found the hollow ship," blah blah blah. And then this is where Picard does his big like righteous Picard speech, right?
Yeah.
Who the hell are we to determine the next course of evolution for this people?
We are betraying the principles upon which the Federation was founded.
Like in every movie.
It's very so.
Attack on its very soul. So this is where Picard says, "No, this is I don't agree with anything you guys are doing here. This is a violation of the Prime Directive." This is when Picard should have struck. What he should have done was he should have arrested the admiral, and he should have thrown Rafu in the brig too, because he had them both on his ship at his mercy in this moment, right? He doesn't have to let them go back to.
Yeah, but then how are you going to drag a movie that realistically only has enough plot for 30 minutes and make it into an hour and a half?
You do a brig escape scene or something, and then you make that cool, and then they could have did that, but
right, or that they can't face the three Sona ships by themselves, and that's or whatever something. But basically, like, this is maybe Picard's best chance to sort of get a leg up on the villains, but he can't.
Here's what I think kind of happened in this movie, though, too, before the movie ever happened. I think Patrick Stewart was like, I want to do the A story. Technically, I want to be on the planet. Riker got to be on the planet last time. I had it stuck on the ship, sweaty. It was gross. I want to go shoot in California. I want Riker to shoot in the friggin' Jonathan Frakes. He could fucking stay on the ship. And it's like, and then Frakes was like, fine, I'm directing the movie, so I'm gonna be in a tub getting shaved by Deanna. I'm gonna, every scene's just gonna be good for me.
Shave my balls, Deanna. Come on, let's go.
All right. You went a little far.
I want to bald like Picard's head. Let's go.
You went a little far.
Smooth as an android's bottom.
It would have been better if they're like smooth as Picard's head. Picard's head. That would have been amazing.
It's funny because it's fucking true. It's probably what happened. There's
before Patrick Stewart really. This is before he got X-Men, right? Or they probably were making X-Men right after this. After X-Men comes out, Patrick Stewart goes from sort of
X-Men came out in 2000, I think.
Patrick Stewart becomes a much bigger star after that X-Men movie, right? He goes into movie star status more so after that movie.
I guess.
And I think that's why Nemesis sucks as much as it is, because I don't think he wanted to do those Star Trek movies anymore. He wanted to go off and do X-Men movies. So he was like, I feel like he phones in on Nemesis, but this one I think he's still trying.
No, I think he's doing some decent acting, but it's just, unfortunately, it's overshadowed by literally everything else that sucks in this movie. Like, the plot, the characters, pretty much everything.
Yeah. We got Ruafu bleeding from his face. Then Picard takes off his pips. It's an insurrection. First of all, this is not a fucking insurrection. He's only insurrecting against this one admiral guy.
Well, he's going against the Federation, realistically. Because the Federation ordered this.
He's really taken Dowry's word for it, really. Like, whatever his name is, the admiral's name. He's just like, I'm here, the Federation sent me. Prove it.
Well, yeah, I guess you don't really know for sure if the Federation really is behind it, because there's nothing that really confirms that other than the one dick admiral.
Riker and Jody are sent to go talk to the Federation.
What's that?
Get there, and they said, we talked to them. It's on hold. Everything's on hold. Don't worry.
Ashley's talking.
Picard says later when he's talking to the admiral, when the admiral says, you're going against my orders, I'll have you court-martialed for this. And he said, let's bring this to the Federation and we'll see who gets court-martialed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he does say that.
I didn't think the Federation knew. I think I'm pretty sure the admiral made some sort of deal with Sona to get tech, because he says something at the beginning. They allude to like that he'll get rid of these people off this planet for him in exchange for like technology for the Federation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they have a deal. Like he says, we're partners. There's a deal we have to make here. Yeah, no, I agree with you that it's probably what he's saying is probably true or is mostly true, but he's really like.
And Dowry, like you see, he practically shits his pants when he finds out that Riker is gone with the Enterprise, and they have to intercept them before they're within communications range.
Yeah,
right.
So the Federation doesn't know.
Because Dowry or the Admiral guy, he's like he pretty much signs off on their death warrant. He's like, yeah, go.
Yeah.
No.
Right. That's right. Why chase them if everything's okay? Like,
yeah.
Anything wrong?
So this is where he goes to steal the captain's yacht, but all the crew have already figured it out. And I love how the 5 that are going to go with him, or I guess it's the 4 who are going to go with him, are already in civilian wear. Yeah. Whereas we already know that Riker and Jody are going to go on the ship mission, so they'll stay in uniform. This was like they make it seem like it's Picard's idea, but it's really like the 6 of them clearly
have their
made this
civilian
plan.
clothes on.
Made this plan. They like, okay, so Picard looks like he's planning to insurrect, so we better insurrect with him. And
we'll better insurrect with him. It is the name of the movie. We might as well do it.
Right. And this is where like now they're protecting the Baku down on the planet. Right, where and this is where the great exodus, like where Picard is Moses, and the rest of his merry band.
You missed the good line from Data: "Lock and load,
lock and load, no uniform, no orders." All those kinds of things.
Nobody would say that in the 24th century. Lock and load.
Yeah,
it's so out of place.
It's out of place, and it doesn't work.
Press a button.
Press a button. I'm gonna start pressing soldiers or pressing buttons, soldier.
And does he actually pump the fucking?
Yeah, he goes.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
He does like the mannerism of it.
Yeah.
Jody, did you like the fashion choices of the crew? Did you like Picard's leather jacket?
That's a rather off-wall question.
Not for Dave.
Yeah, that's true. Not for Dave. I didn't care one way or the other, I guess, is really what it comes down
He
to.
had the best outfit.
I'm not that hung up on outfits.
Dave loves outfits and costumes and
uniforms.
The uniforms are fine if that's what you're going to ask me next.
No.
Dave,
The
why don't you tell
uniforms,
us who you thought had the best outfit?
What's that?
Oh, I think
Rafu did.
it's probably Picard, even though I think it looks ridiculous with like his short T-shirt and his leather jacket. But the rest of them have like actually the women look good. Like Troy and Crusher look very good in their outfits.
Troy in the tub.
Troy, not Troy in the tub.
Picard's jacket looked.
No, because she was wearing
Nothing.
Yeah, James said Picard jacket was like the 1970s.
See, that's what they should have said, like, because that, when Geordi's like, history might be calling this the Riker maneuver, Riker should have just went, I already did that in the tub. That would have been amazing.
See, but they couldn't do it.
Riker maneuver.
A chair.
If this is so fucking family friendly, why are they in the fucking tub?
Right.
They're not showing any nudity. They're just.
Oh, I know that. That's
She's
fine.
just shaving.
What I need, I can't get from Dr. Crusher.
What he needs, he can't
Well,
get.
he can. He just doesn't want to. I think he should. Crusher is a prize. Like, come on, man.
I thought Crusher and Picard are supposed to get married. At least.
No, they knew they were bound for divorce, so they never got together.
That's what history showed them.
Gene, what do you think of Data and the kid in this whole sequence on the planet?
It's creepy as shit.
I would much rather see any romance over the scenes with the kid.
Yeah.
In the bay, and just it's awful. Learn how to play. Like, I don't need to see a kid.
Let's just call that creepy Uncle Data scene from now on.
Oh,
You
horrible.
need to learn how to play.
Oh, horrible. Just cut
Data
that.
plays all the time.
On the holodeck.
Oh,
All the time.
Yeah,
he
Sherlock Holmes.
It's called make believe.
Oh, you're talking about the scene at the end when he comes out of the hay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he comes to the hay.
Oh, fucking terrible.
Oh.
It's supposed to be cute and
And he's like cleaning off the kid too. He's like touching him and shit. Oh,
Yeah,
it's creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, don't touch the kid, Data. You've already done enough fucking mental damage to this kid as it is.
Yeah, you just got to watch for him in case he says, I am fully functional in.
Jeff, did you think that it was kind of a disconnect that in the last movie they're fighting the Borg, one of the most terrifying villains of all, and in this movie they're basically fighting flying drones, not the Borg kind of drones, but just those little drones that.
The worst thing is these aren't even. These aren't even drones that actually do anything bad. All they're doing is transporting people.
I'm just tired, that the trope that they need to fight something. Star Trek doesn't need to be necessarily about that. They can do stories that, like, if most of the TNG episodes are not them fighting somebody. It's like something goes wrong on the ship and they got to figure out the problem. And then, like, I wish they did like a Star Trek movie like that.
Movies will feel like they need action, or people won't see it.
No, exactly, but I think that's bogus. I think, especially at the time, I agree with you, Kevin. That's what people thought. But then, like movies like Inception, they're action, but they more make you think, and that's what Star Trek did in the episodes. They make you think about the concepts of like time travel or.
That's why I don't like any of the new series, is because they don't make you think. They're just action.
Yeah, just action, and I mean, I don't really. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, well, why can't they do a movie where it's more like a time travel paradox type idea, and Star Trek that could do
science fiction esque, right?
Yeah, more science fiction esque. Like, I just think they've missed the boat on that. Even with the new Star Trek movies, which we'll do once we get through Nemesis, which that'll be a slog.
The first one's not bad.
Nemesis.
The other two are.
Oh no, you mean Nemesis will be the.
Oh, Nemesis
is better than this movie.
The new movies are not terrible. Like I like the first one because again, they do the paradox idea. I mean, you think, oh, what about it's like the alternate 1985? It turned it into an alternate reality. I liked the first new Star Trek movie. The other two are not very good.
Oh, they're
like
garbage.
the Star Trek Beyond is the new movie's version of this movie, Star Trek Insurrection.
All Star Trek Beyond, Star Trek boring.
It is kind of like this movie in that it's kind of unobjectionable. Sorry.
Yeah, Beyond I've watched once and never bothered.
But Star Trek, the thing is though, like the movies, you don't have to have a hell of a lot of action for it to be a good movie. Like it's when you think of like, for instance, Voyage Home, there's not a hell of a lot of action in that movie. Undiscovered Country, not a hell of a lot of action in that movie either. There is some scenes, obviously. So you can have good movies that don't have to have a hell of a lot of action in them for them to be good Star Trek movies.
I think I agree with you completely. I think that movie producers of the time, and I guess what a lot of the audiences that were changing, wanted more of that in their
But test audiences and shit like that.
But you're not talking a hell of a lot of time in between them here. Like if you look at Undiscovered Country versus this movie, you're only talking what, 8 years? 7 years? Yeah. Like, and in between there was movies in between that. So it's, you're not, it's not like they really had to go this route. They just went this route because they thought it was a good idea, and it obviously didn't work well.
First Contact has a very little amount of action as well. It's the movie they made right before this one.
It's got more action, more horror to it though. Like
yes.
it's definitely got that going for it.
Tension. This movie doesn't have any tension.
No, there really is no tension. The only tension you have is when you hear them scream.
Going to the caves, I suppose. That's about it.
Yeah, like you're kind of that was completely unnecessary too. Like when they're in the caves and they have to go save the kid because he's lost his little mouse thing or whatever, and he's gonna go back and they get caved in, but then they get them out. Like that is complete waste of time. It has no purpose in the movie.
That's really what you just summed.
Time thing, but.
Yeah, you've summed up this whole movie. It is a complete waste of time.
It's a complete waste of time, and there's no purpose for it.
No.
I'm gonna skip over some of
the entertainment. There's no purpose for any entertainment.
It had to make it happen. The beginning of Nemesis and the wedding. We needed it to see their relationship.
This was an hour and a half setup.
An hour and a half. And that's why Worf needed to come along because he needed to be there.
He needed to get his role and.
Like what kind of like personnel movement do they have in Starfleet where Worf can just leave his post whenever he feels like it and go jaunt off with fucking Picard whenever he feels like it? It's like come on.
Kind of diplomatic mission in this one.
Yeah, and Worf is the first person you need for a diplomatic mission.
You don't know what the diplomatic mission was because they interrupted him and didn't let him explain.
Yeah,
but it's a long story.
It's a long story, not important. He'll be back on Deep Space Nine next week. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
We kind of covered a lot of it. We talked about the Riker maneuver and all that. That kind of happens next. And is there anything else you want to say about that stuff?
That was a good scene.
Not bad.
I didn't mind it.
It's fine. I like how he's like, we're gonna shove it down. Do I have that? I think I do.
Yeah, we're gonna shove it down their throats, and then the Trill ensign looks at him like she wants to fuck him.
Oh yeah.
Everyone looks at Riker like that.
Which is the true Riker maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other big reveal here too is that after a little bit of firefight with the Sona, one is injured. Crusher figures out that they have the same DNA as the Baku.
Yeah, they're essentially the same people.
This happens right before there's the showdown. The 5 drones staring at like the 5 TNG crew members, kind of along with Anish, kind of like with that tense moment.
I gotta mention this. I'm sorry. There's a scene where they're all kind of like on like the side of a hill, and like they're all taking cover, and all the TNG people are firing weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Deanna looks so fucking stupid.
I noticed that, yeah.
But it doesn't even look like she's even holding the fucking rifle correctly. And on top of that, it's like you have that kind of marksman training. You're a fucking counselor.
Don't go criticizing my counseling technique.
No, I will fucking criticize it. You're a fucking idiot.
Commander training.
No, well, Riker showed her where to put it.
Training
For sure, but
taking a holographic test, and her test was order a holographic Jody to his death.
And she failed many times. And then,
until she figured it out.
Yeah.
But ordering a hologram to his death.
Like,
easier.
I think the biggest travesty of this entire movie is we didn't get enough Beverly Crusher.
We got barely any Beverly Crusher.
We didn't get any.
Barely got any.
This
She's
is how
right.
Troy
Heck,
Bollinger
right?
got like this.
Only that we don't care about the boobs firming up.
Have you noticed how your boobs have started to firm up?
Not that we care about such things in this day and age.
That's about all Crusher has to say.
Apparently, they don't care about those things in this day and age.
Saved Anaj's life with her
Well, they didn't ask any of the guys if they.
Oh yeah,
She did something.
Yeah.
She did
Oh,
the movie.
Riker cared.
Yeah, Riker's like, oh, hey, Deanna, you stay on this planet for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna press that trill.
Yeah, I'm going back after her.
I gotta go take off with the trill for a while. Yeah.
And it's okay. And it was during this whole sequence that Anej and Picard they get the tags, so they end up on.
Who's Anej?
The
woman-
girl that you don't care about.
Oh, okay.
Picard's girlfriend.
Picard's girlfriend in this movie.
They were pretty casual with each other. Like when they were on that ship after they've been beamed up, like they were pretty snuggy and couple-ish.
See, but
Yeah.
Riker, it's because
Like
Riker
this.
was previously occupied, so now it leaves space open.
Yeah,
For
now
Picard
Picard
to-
can have the Picard maneuver.
You gotta remember, Picard's had his share too. You know, just
Yeah.
not as blatant as Riker.
Everybody wants to fuck Riker. There's only a select few that Picard will.
Oh no, I think Picard
I think
is
it's
way better.
Right, but that's not how they portray it.
That's true.
You're-
That's
yeah,
true.
Right.
Dave's like, should I shave my head?
Maybe I should.
And become English and old, but pretend to be French.
You'll have to get better at making speeches. Self-righteous speeches.
You can call me Dave Luke. My new name is David Luke.
Luke, you can call me Dave.
Dave Luke.
Um,
We should try that.
the whole reveal. This is the whole reveal where Ruafu. They're like, why don't you tell the Admiral the truth, Ruafu, that you and the Baku are the same race, or don't you know, Admiral? And that this is where the Admiral shifts because he realizes now he's involved in an internal blood feud, the internal affairs of a race. Like I think this is where the Admiral's like, okay, we have violated the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Well, you get the impression that he doesn't actually think he's doing anything wrong until the scene, and then at this point he's like, "Oh, hold on, what? You're the same thing? Oh, wait a second."
Right. And this is where Ruafu's like, we need to do it. We need to we just need to launch now. And the Admiral's like, hey, like everyone's still on the planet. I'm not killing anybody. And he's like, oh yeah, well I'm killing you. And he throws them down and he puts in that
Yeah, which is such a wasted opportunity. Would you not have wanted to see that face just come right
No.
fucking off?
No.
Oh,
No.
come on.
No.
That would have been amazing.
I had to close my eyes and I opened them again. I'm like, oh.
They made him look like a 2020 John Travolta.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like John Travolta
Yeah.
looks now.
No, he was better.
right. And okay, so then Ruafu, who's been going through all this work to like save everybody on the planet, right? He's like, no, I'm launching my weapon. It's gonna kill everyone on the planet. But guess what? All the people we've beamed up, their section is not protected from radiation, so they'll die. I'm like, well, then why have you been trying to save these people the whole? I don't understand.
And their captain's chair is like a fucking like velour couch.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the best.
You might as well be comfortable if you're going to be
Exactly.
captaining.
I guess, but like,
Like a love seat on the bridge.
That's what Riker would have, because Riker would want to have some chick with him.
Riker's probably like, that's enough room for two.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand though is how if they left the Baku and then they became the Sona, like how do they have these big ships that are better than the Federation ships? Like what's the deal? Like,
Well, that's
where
the
are
thing
they
that
going?
bothers me about the fact that there's this trade for technology. What fucking technology do they need? They can already outgun the fucking Enterprise. Like, what's the problem?
They can't. But they can't.
Oh,
the entire fleet. I guess.
And then there was something about Ketchasel White. Like, so what? I don't exactly where.
They were teamed up with the Dominion.
So these guys left 100 years ago and became this successful in 100 years.
Yeah. So what they say is like they left they tried to take over the colony, like this group of young people that was included Ruafu and the other guy, Golna. And so they got exiled. And so they conquered two other species. You see like these other aliens that were running around.
Yeah.
They were like these species that were conquered by the Sona. They came, they renamed themselves the Sona. And they've been keeping themselves alive longer. They'd be dead by now, but they've been keeping their skin stretched and their toxins pulled out and whatever. But yeah, their ships are pretty powerful. But
the Baku originally were very technological people.
Yes.
They decided it was destroying their civilization and decided to take a step back from that and to go to a more basic life.
Yeah.
Yes.
The people that eventually became the Sona didn't agree with that, wanted to keep the technology. So the technology that the Baku had, the Sona took with them.
They still had
and
that, so that's
expanded on it over the next 100 years.
But then why do they need the Federation help at all? Like they have
It's
They have
not-
it
it's
in
not-
space.
So the planet's
in their space, yeah.
and then the Federation, like the Admiral, was willing to help relocate these people in exchange for some of the Sona's technology.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I was thinking that they were like 5 people were exiled with nothing but the shirts on their back. That's not really the case. They were exiled with all their technology, all their knowledge, and that's how they were still.
But they had all the knowledge.
Okay. Quite a few of them. Yeah.
And I don't know what happens next. I guess Picard convinces Golna.
At this point, I fell asleep.
Golna, his like lieutenant guy, right? Rafu's
Yes.
like second in command guy.
Yeah, he's talking to him while he's taking him down.
Yeah, and Golna's like, I don't want to kill everybody. That wasn't I didn't want to, and so he kind of flips. He flips on Rafu. I just love when Picard's like, "Is this what you do, Golna? You traitor! You let Rafu become a madman, and you a coward." And he's just going. I'm like, Picard, shut up, man. Like,
It's a great speech. What are you talking about?
like that part.
I love that part. He calls him a coward. It's amazing.
Oh,
You're a coward.
First of all, that guy, Golna had already decided to flip, right? Like, so everything Picard's saying is just like blah blah blah.
Well, he was thinking about it. Like
He was thinking about it. He wasn't there yet.
Yeah, he was
Do you-
like,
do you
okay,
think that Picard
let's get
convinced-
beyond what.
I think Picard overfilled the glass.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Picard he just tipped him over the edge.
And he doesn't like to be called a coward, apparently.
Yeah.
Because if that guy doesn't flip, they lose this mission, right? Rafu wins the day, probably.
Yes.
Probably.
No,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been. Something else would have happened, but that is what we're led to believe. That like the whole story kind of contingent on this guy, this Sona guy, like flipping and kind of finding his Bakuness, his Bakunity. Is that what they say?
Unity.
Because they're not humans, right? So they're Bakumity.
Yes.
The world needs more Bakunis.
And this is where they figure out, okay, well, once Bravo figures out where we're up to something, he's going to hit his armband with the thing. So he's like, yeah, okay, we'll just pull a ruse. And he calls the surface. He only calls 2 guys. He calls Riker. He calls Worf and Data. Troy and Crusher.
They don't do anything.
You're not needed for this like end of save the day.
They saw her shoot that gun, and he's like, "No."
Yeah, he's like, that bitch couldn't hit something at 5 yards. I'm not getting her.
I forgot about that.
Right, and so Data's coming up and shooting them with the torpedoes, which they set up earlier in the movie, is going to change your shield harmonics, and this is going to let them beam them off and onto the hollow ship, which is their ultimate plan. We're going to beam Rawafu, but the thing that's not consistent here is when you're transported, you kind of know you're being transported, right? Unless you're asleep.
Yeah. Unless this was different technology and not the same transporters as Federation transporters.
Right, because when they
Yeah,
do it,
Federation,
when they flip
Hold
it
on. I can sum this all up. Convenience. All right, let's move on.
Convenience, yeah, it's convenient. Yeah, and then I don't know, and then Data's shooting at them. Worf comes involved, and then but Rafu's able to like turn it around, right? Because not only does he get over to the thing to start the whole process again, like the big machine, but all of Rafu's people come back to the bridge, and then they overpower that guy, Golna and Worf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. But then what I think is like you see here Picard fighting Rafu on these series of beams and platforms and things that they're fighting, and it's always Picard just trying to get to a control panel to turn something off, just like when he was fighting Soren in Generations, where he's like, "Arr, get away from that!" Like that's what Picard just has to get somewhere, press some buttons. The bad guy will say, "Don't do that," and then he does it anyway, or he gets the drop on him, and then he does it again. This is like Picard's maneuver.
I guess because
It's the Picard maneuver.
what else is he going to do on a bad guy? Because I don't think they would have Picard kill him.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny.
So-
It's just funny how they keep kind of doing the same thing over and over again. It's always the bad guy right at the end. They have to press a button to save the day, and the bad guy usually dies right there.
I have some fun facts about this movie that I think.
Love fun facts.
Yeah.
Fun facts. Okay, Marina Sirtis admitted that she fell asleep during the premiere.
Wow.
You know what?
Criticizing my counseling techniques.
When
You know
data
what?
is malfunctioning, yeah, how do you not fall asleep? When data is malfunctioning, Picard gets him to recite Gilbert and Sullivan. In Isaac Asimov's story Runaround, a malfunctioning robot recites Gilbert and Sullivan while evading capture. So it's an ode to that story, which is actually kind of cool. Originally, they wanted to make this movie a Q movie, but John Delancey didn't want to come back and reprise his role.
Oh, that would have been so much better. I would've loved
Oh, that would have been amazing.
The only Star Trek movie until now where a star date is never given.
Yeah.
This is the first Star Trek movie that uses every scene with space is computer made. So it's the first one to do that. It's also the first movie in two movies. Generations of First Contact were both worked on by Industrial Lights and Magic. The reason why they couldn't do this movie was because they were doing Deep Impact and Star Wars Episode 1. So they were busy. Okay, so this movie actually came out after the finale of season 6, Dave, and Michael Piller had actually written lines in this movie to acknowledge the death of Jadzia. But then they said to take that out because they didn't want to get it leaked, and they also didn't want to cross over the Deep Space Nine and Star Trek TNG storylines at all, pretty much. So like that was
I
one.
think it's a good move, though. Not
to like talk about that too much.
Yeah.
So the guy who plays the Admiral Doherty was originally going to play Rafu, but then they basically said, okay, no, you're not good enough for that.
Big actor, so they put him in the role.
So then then he came back to do the audition for the Admiral, and then he recited the entire movie of Dante's Inferno or something, and they were very impressed. Jonathan Frakes apparently was very impressed. So they just gave it to him on the
The guy
spot.
who plays the Admiral, like he's fine, but he's kind of still forgettable in that as well. Like,
I think he's supposed to be forgettable, though.
okay.
Yeah.
He's not the main bad guy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was originally offered Rafu. He was going to be Rafu, and then
That would have been amazing.
No.
Wait,
I would have loved to see that.
Wait,
No.
no. Sorry.
Could you imagine him doing that?
It couldn't have been worse.
What
Or
would
that-
be worse?
It'd be like
If Schwarzenegger had done.
That would have been. That would have been 20 times better.
When he's pulling the shit out of his nose.
Yeah, Total Recall. Yeah.
Okay, but just think about like Schwarzenegger had played Mr. Freeze just the year before in Batman, and then he would have come in and played this. Oh,
yeah, and Ange was originally supposed to be played by Sally Field, but she turned it down as well.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I think
Oh, that would have
Too
been.
old?
Yeah, Sally Field. That would have been terrible.
I mean, Sally Field in Forrest Gump with old person makeup on, like Sally Field, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Wilford Brimley and Gene Hackman were also asked to play Admiral Doherty, but they both also turned it down.
Hackman would have been awesome.
Brimley?
So all these big
Gene
actors
Hackman,
are like,
yes.
this movie sucks. I don't want to be.
Star Trek isn't supposed
Hackman
to
would have been awesome.
big recognizable actors.
I think some big actors can come in and it can work. Like I think Christopher Lloyd is fine in that Klingon commander role.
Yeah, but that's because it doesn't really look or sound like him.
Malcolm McDowell as Soren.
He's not a Schwarzenegger.
Neither was
He's
Christopher
really
Lloyd
big,
at that
like-
time. He had
Yeah.
done a few movies, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
Malcolm McDowell had done Clockwork Orange like 10 years before, or no, 20 years before.
That's still
Yeah.
kind of niche.
This is the last Star Trek movie to be rated PG.
No!
So this movie has a plot similar to Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, Dave, that we are going to be getting to called Battle Lines. It's episode 13, so we're actually almost there. In that episode, Commander
We love that soundboard, Dave. You should keep doing that.
In that episode, Commander Sisko, Major Kira, and Dr. Bashir discover that the Ennis and the Null Ennis are being regenerated by an alien nanotechnology in the environment of the moon, which is their penal colony. In this movie, the Enterprise crew discovered that the Baku homeworld, the Baku can regenerate due to the planet's regenerative radiation. So basically, I'm guessing Michael Piller wrote that episode too, episode 13. I'll have to go check that out.
Probably a good guess.
Probably a good guess. Okay. In one scene, Worf wakes up from a nightmare when Picard calls him on the intercom. In the backstory, Worf had a nightmare about a tragedy he suffered on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which took place before this movie. Worf's wife, Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax, was murdered by Gul Dukat. So they were going to foreshadow it too, or they were going to go back to it. Picard was originally going to kill Data in this film, a decision fully supported by Brent Spiner, who he felt he was getting too old to play the character. This was vetoed by Patrick Stewart. Spiner's script came with a note reading, "Better luck next time. See the next film, Star Trek Nemesis." So
That's about right.
So that has been Fun Facts with Jeff.
By the way, that's the best part of this whole podcast.
Yeah, I think that's a new feature.
That's a new segment.
That needs to be a feature.
Facts with Jeff.
Facts with Jeff.
Facts with Jeff. We'll close out.
Yeah.
I think you should call it Jiving with Jeff.
Jiving with Jeff.
Jiving with Jeff. Okay.
Jiving the Facts with Jeff.
Are we ready to rate this movie?
Do we have to?
Sure.
No, it would be. I'm confused.
All right.
Right.
As long as you promise not to do a soundboard the whole time.
Are we all going to get echoey again?
Yeah.
Have we figured that out?
No, it sounds pretty good.
Sounds good.
Needs to be big. There we go.
Okay, I'm giving this a 5.5.
You are generous.
I'm just looking at my previous. So I'm going to have to give this 6.5.
Jesus.
Jeff?
3.8. It's the best I can do.
Tom's not here. Jody.
This is Final Frontier bad, so I'm gonna go 3.5.
Okay, Kevin.
I'm going to go 7. I don't think it's a great movie, but I watched this and I enjoy it.
Well, that is pretty much the point of a movie, isn't it?
Yep.
And Ashley.
I'll give it 6.5.
Hey.
The IMDb score is 6.4.
Yeah, the IMDb is 6.4, 55% on Rotten Tomato meter and 44% on Rotten Tomato audience for a 6.4. Yeah, so it's 5.9 our combined average.
Dave.
Yep.
You can put me down for a 9.5 for First Contact.
Okay, we'll do.
It brought it up 1 point.
Yeah.
0.1.
All right. So that means that our reigning champion is still Star Trek First Contact at 9.4, with Undiscovered Country at 9.2, and the bronze medal right now going to Voyage Home with 9.1.
Yeah.
So
that's a
I'm gonna ruin the rest of it for you. It's not gonna get any better.
I think like Star Trek 2009 is probably the only one that could be a contender.
No, not for me.
But we'll see.
We're nowhere close to the other ones.
Yeah, that one does not beat First Contact.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fine. I think they did a good job.
It's decent.
The way they did it, but it doesn't beat First Contact.
Except for Uhura.
It's in the 80 percentile. It's in the 80s.
Everything about Uhura in the new movies is terrible.
I don't like Scotty. Scotty
fucking whiny.
I don't like Spock.
Spock and Scotty bothered me the most in the new movies. I love Bones. I love Kirk.
Yeah.
Bones
is great.
That was fantastic.
Bones
Whoever
is-
did the casting
Yeah.
for Bones was
Spot on.
Spot on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Carl Urban is a huge Star Trek
And
fan.
even to a lesser degree, Chris Pine is pretty good as Kirk.
He's perfect. He's perfect to play Kirk.
I wouldn't say he's perfect.
Oh,
but
we're
he's
talking
perfect.
Yeah, I'm like, he was dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're talking-
We rated the Insurrection. Now we're talking about what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Come on, okay. We got Nemesis to get through, everybody. We got now one not great movie. It killed Star Trek movies for 7 years. So it's
Not really, but anyway.
There wasn't a Star Trek movie between 2002 and 2009.
There was none planned either. It's not like it killed him.
I don't know if it killed them. It more like
No!
All right. Get this.
I swear to God, if I can find a way to stop you from
No!
thing, I will.
Do you really need counseling, or did you come down here to play?
Sing, Wolf, sing.
Stop! Stop!
he's Jody. He's not even going to communicate to you with words.
We are ready for a knockdown blow.
It's just going to be.
Do we have one more mambo, Dave?
Dave just
do another mambo.
through sound.
No, not that. Something Latin.
Specify.
A mambo. That's more like it.
All right. Well, I think that's it, everybody.
Yep.
Okay. We're back here for Star Trek Nemesis next week. Get ready for that. I want to thank all of our panelists, Jane, Jeff, Ashley, Kevin, and Jody. And
Even me.
yes.
Even me.
Thank everybody. We're getting there, guys. We're almost towards the end of these Star Trek.
It's been a painful trek.
What a journey it's been. Maybe it's not the destination that matters, like Harry Kim says. Maybe it's the journey.
Harry Kim
anyway,
sucked.
Yeah, we're.
Thank God they didn't make a Voyager movie. Imagine that. Oh fuck, that'd be garbage.
I'd watch a Voyager movie.
I would.
I would never watch a Voyager movie. Never.
Why?
You had a plot for one yesterday.
I have a
just-
great
or the
Voyager
day
movie.
before,
Don't-
Yeah.
I'll pitch it to you later.
Yeah.
All right. Deep Space Nine. We're back on Tuesday for Deep Space Nine podcast. Watch that. That's going to be about Dax, a season 1 episode. That's the first kind of real deep dive into the Dax symbiont and character and the trills and everything to do on that on Deep Space Nine. We're going to be back next Thursday for Metamorphosis here, our original series episode, which is the Zephram Cochrane original series episode. So that's going to be interesting. And Sunday, tomorrow, on Trivial Debates, our sister channel, we got Jody hosting Trivial Debates. Now, Jody, do we want to give the audience maybe a little preview of what those questions might be, or should we wait till
If you want to do that, you can.
we can? Okay. Do you remember what they are?
No.
The movie question was
Oh yes.
80s
franchise.
best movie,
Oh,
best
franchise.
80s movie franchise. We got a TV is the worst sci-fi science fiction TV show. I think
Babylon 5.
Instrument to use in a song is the music one. Sports is
Babylon
Worst rule.
worst rule, and then what was the
Bonus
history?
question is
Where's the worst?
Best video game.
Best video game.
I had to
before-
put a video game question in.
a game pre-2000.
Yeah, so that's gonna be good. So that's gonna be
I
Kevin.
will say the picks are pretty good so far.
Kevin, you're one of the fighters for that.
I
We
hope
also
Kevin is.
Kevin, Chris, and Jason Doan are in for that one. Jeff is
Wow.
alternate.
Jason's still iffy now, I think.
Okay, so Jeff's alternate if Jason's iffy.
Oh, is he? Okay, great.
All right. So Jeff, we might have to put you in, Gordy. Slap on your skates. All right.
You're going in, boy.
All right.
I think
Thanks.
Jeff stopped listening about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
my fun facts, it was kind of a wrap.
Yeah, he's like, we're done now. By the way,
I thought we were already done. Okay, we'll catch you tomorrow for Trivial Debates. We'll catch you next Saturday for Star Trek.
we need a jingle.
Sis.
Jiving with Jeff.
Thanks, everybody. Live long
Yeah.
on the podcast and have a good one.
Bye.